Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of June 27th, 2011. Can't believe over halfway done this year. Time flies, doesn't it? Very exciting. Thank you for being here at the site. Welcome back to the old members. Welcome to the new members. And thank you for supporting the site, everybody. The Ask Video Mail, don't forget, is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one. It's the best way to get the most value out of the site. So if you haven't sent a question in, now is the time. Don't forget, the address is webmaster@kennyroy.com. I read all the questions and I answer the one that I hope will help the most people. Just one quick announcement. I have had a couple people ask me because they saw a review of the videos on a website or a forum, and they asked, like, hey, how come the member price for the videos in the archive is not displaying? Well, have no fear. The member price is applied once you check out. It's only applied once you check out. I've had absolutely zero problems with the member price being applied to an item that a member has bought. So if you have any problems, just send me an email, webmaster@kennyroy.com. That's the email to send it to. I will correct it immediately. I'm all over that email. So I want to make sure that everyone is having a good time and no one has any problems with the site. So have no fear, it absolutely will apply the member discount when you buy a video. Also, don't forget to tell your friends. You can still get a 30-day free subscription just for referring a friend who signs up for a membership, and you get 30 days if they sign up for a 6-month, but you get an entire 60 days free if they sign up for a year. So great way to get some referral bonuses. And one more thing, there is a link on the home page, and it says click here to see previews of the content within. It's a preview page. I'm going to make it a little bit more prominent. I'm going to record a couple more previews, some new previews for the videos that we're doing right now. So if you are referring friends, or you're trying to refer friends and you want to show them what the site's all about, refer them for now to that preview page, because there are a couple of the older lectures that are uploaded there, and then I'm going to be doing some new ones. So there'll be a lot to look at so they can see exactly what's going on in here. But also tell them, say, hey, Kenny's a really cool guy. So the Ask Video Mail, I'm really excited about this question because it actually ties in a little bit to what I have written in the How to Cheat in Maya 2012 book. Just quick plug, if you haven't pre-ordered that book, check out Amazon.com for How to Cheat in Maya 2012, Eric Luta and Kenny Roy, co-authors. Very exciting stuff. But this is really fun Ask Video Mail because I get to kind of incorporate one of the little cheats that I put into the book. So let's read the question. So what Manjo, best name ever, side note, what Manjo is asking is an interesting question for me, because what I find is that this kind of comes down to a workflow problem. What he says is he tries a lot of trial and error, and that's actually a good way to do a lot of things. I mean, trial and error is very well known and very well respected. I mean, like in animation, there's no replacement for experience. In a lot of things, there's no replacement for experience, but in animation, it's kind of extra applicable, right? So there's nothing really inherently wrong with trial and error. But since I'm like a workflow maniac, what I want you to start thinking of is not what are you trying to go for, but how are you going to get there? Because in the end, what is going to really stick out? Okay, so what I've seen people do is they try to key, like, let's do a shiver. Okay, let's think about a shiver. They try to key something like a shiver straight ahead, and just like watch it, play it back, and okay, it kind of gets something. It's actually pretty easy to key it straight ahead. It's just like the body's shaking. Like, what else is there to it? All right, well, you can polish it and you can get into the minute details, but let's just for now say that it's, it's pretty easy to key it straight ahead and to just get something, just at least get something blocked in there, right? Okay. So what really is the problem? Why does that why does that end up looking bad? Well, animation is very layered, and even if you have a very straightforward section, it's normally layered on top of something else. So if it's a person laughing, they're laughing while they're like someone said a joke and they're laughing and they're turning to tell the person next to them. Or if they're coughing, they smell something bad and they're coughing and they're also, fanning it away or something like that, right? Or if they're shivering, maybe they're shivering not from cold, but from fear. Okay, so they're, backing away from something, right? Okay. So because it's so layered, what ends up happening is that your workflow hasn't had any change from what you were doing before to how you're trying to put this shiver in. Meaning, you go straight ahead on this shiver, and then since you already have all this straight ahead animation, and it's all piled up and it's keyed really densely already, then you start going straight ahead into that other layer where the person is turning or looking away or walking or whatever. And then what do you end up with? You end up with really swimmy animation with very weak posing, and yeah, it probably will end up looking, looking pretty shoddy. Okay, so I just want to show you just a quick trick that I've begun using, and it just makes the workflow of it all super easy and super simple and a lot more fun. Okay, so let's take a look. This is a scene that I just really quickly, this took me literally 5 minutes to create, where there's a character who is looking over here, he's thinking about something, and then what he does is he's thinking and then he realizes that there's, there's like a huge monster behind him, something huge and dangerous and whatever, okay? So really, really quick, I'll just hit play. Okay, so he's thinking, and then all of a sudden he realizes it's behind him, and he starts shivering and shaking like that. Okay, super, super funny, right? And it took 5 minutes to put together. Now, what did I do here? I actually used the animation layers. So let me, I'm going to delete back and actually show you exactly how this works. Okay, let's see. Select layer node. Let me just delete the keys on the weight here. Okay. So the first thing that I did is that I animated my base animation. Okay, so I'm just going to key this at 0. All right. And hit play. So here's my guy, and then he just kind of fades into this scared pose, hearing something behind him that's about to kill him, right? So thinking, and then, and what I did here, I pulled out a couple of the tricks that I've already shown you in the video mails. I did the, middle, key the entire body, key a very relaxed pose, middle mouse drag, and dilute that pose, middle mouse drag, and copy and paste a couple times so that I got a moving hold right here when he looks this way, right? So he gets to this pose, and then this is that moving hold that I'm talking about. So just a little bit of body movement, very simple, very quick, all came together very nicely. So all of it really, really just, just flew together very nicely. But then, instead of thinking to myself, okay, now I need to key a shiver into this and really get, really get complicated, what I did was I just animated a shiver animation on a new animation layer. Okay, so I'll show you that now. here's my layer. I have my animation layer 1 selected, and that's basically it. He's wiggling and moving around, and basically he's just jiggling. What this is a whole lot of basically cycled animation. Here's my shoulder, okay? It's just a simple just cycle. Here's the other shoulder. Here's the torso, okay? Wiggling back and forth. Here's the root control, okay? Here's the head. Crazy kind of, almost looked like noise on the head, okay? And the head was actually, because it was a shiver, I really wanted the head to be super, super fast, super high frequency, okay? So I've muted the base animation layer and actually copied it up here so that I could mute it as well. So, but that's why the arms are popping a little bit, but that's not a big deal. So, but when I hit play, you can see I basically have this crazy wiggling that's going on in his body. Crazy wiggling. Okay. In fact, it looks like I forgot to set the out of range curve types here. So let me just make these oscillate as well. Okay, one more time. Okay, now he's continuing to wiggle the whole time. See, he's totally freaking out, right? All right, so this, again, I'm not making a case for this to be, being really fantastic animation. That's not what the point of this is. This is about workflow. So what I will be able to get by following this workflow is a super editable, easy to animate way to get a shiver into my scene, okay? And in a lot of ways, that is way better than having to learn how to or get enough experience to key this first time really, really well, okay? Because editable animation is always better than perfect animation, always better, okay? So what I can do now is, remember, let's look at my base animation layer again, okay? So now he's looking up here, and then oh God, what is that behind me? Now what I can do is I can grab this animation layer where the shiver is happening, wait until the middle of my moving hold somewhere right here, key the weight, and then at the end, key the weight all the way up to, I don't know, let's say like 0.75, okay? So now what ends up happening is that I have basically a control that can, basically I can dial in and out the amount of shivering that happens at any second. And why is that cool? Because rather than have to fight how much my character is shivering, interrupting and like overkeying the controls on my body and actually bringing that in smoothly, like having to try to figure out in the middle of this nice smooth turn how to get shivering to start happening, it's too much to think about for me. I can get 90% there by doing this. So now, as you can see, he's looking, he looks down, and then, oh my God, he starts shivering. Well, that goes a little too far. All right, 0.5 is a little too high. You know what? That's a little nuts. Let's bring it back down. Okay. Now he looks and starts shivering. Oh my God. See that? I have basically a perfectly smooth, well, really, it's as smooth as I want it to be. It can be super sharp. I can dial it in immediately if I wanted to. But really, it's taking a new approach, a new workflow, so that the part of like animating something quick and staggered or repetitive and small and like a micro frequency, the process of getting that into your animation is not going to inherently break your animation. It's not going to inherently iron in or like overkey your animation and just make it terrible looking, okay? It's the transitions. It's the blending that motion into your smooth motion that is the problem, okay? Because really when it comes down to it, you gotta say, a lot of trial and error is great. Trial and error is how you're going to get better. All of those errors you make you just as good or improve you just as much as the successes you have when you're just experimenting and you're getting experience animating shots, okay? But this is a great way to skip the bad part, the part of the staggered and the quick animation that is the real root of the problem, okay? So don't let those staggered animation, those quick, those high frequency things really ruin your smooth, layered animation or ruin your poses, especially your poses, right? I can hit a pose and I can dial in the shiver and bring it back. Now, this is kind of, I lament the loss of a lot of the 2D skills, a lot of the traditional skills and all those things. But on the other hand, this is so fast and it's such a great way to just take advantage of the tools that we have at our fingertips. So, you know, you can't be too bummed about it. You can't ignore a great tool that's there. So as much as this is, you know, not really taking a traditional kind of approach, I just really think that animation layers, especially as good as they work in the latest version of Maya, are just too great to ignore. So anyway, that is definitely how I approach staggered motions. Anything quick and jittery and repetitive, absolutely. These days, I just throw it onto an animation layer and just get going. Okay, that's a great question. And if you have a great question as well, I'd love to hear it. Please send your questions in. I can always use more questions. Okay, so if you haven't already, now's the time. Send the questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I promise I read them all, and I will answer yours if I think it'll help the most people. And it's a great way to get a lot of value out of the site. Don't forget to refer your friends and tell them about the great videos that we're doing here and how much fun we're having. SIGGRAPH is coming up. I'm very excited about that. Animation Mentor Barbecue is coming up. I'm very excited about that. A lot of things coming up. And I'm just, I love my job. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the industry, okay? Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.